A few years ago, when I was shopping around for a new bike, I fell in love with the Road King because it had no fairing in front. The bike felt really agile. You get the wind straight in your face, and the fact that you can dress it up or you can dress it down. So I really like that aspect of the bike. But the one thing I was missing on it was the radio. So I love to listen to music when I go for rides. So I decided to build an audio system. There's a lot of guys online that do it. One of the guys, I've been watching his videos quite a bit, is Carlos Ramirez. I think it's NVS Audio is his company, and he's got tons of videos online giving great advice. I've actually followed quite a bit of his advice on this build here. So thanks, Carlos, for the tips and tricks. So today I'll be showing you my rack that I built. So really the main components in there would be, I have two sound digital amps. One of them is a 1200.4. The other one is a 400.4. And I also have a PRV DSP. So the DSP is a digital sound processor. It actually helps me kind of fine tune the sound a little bit and make sure that the right frequencies are going to the right speaker. So because I don't want a fairing on my Road King, it was very important to me to find a way to put it in the bag. So I just want to use one bag because I still want to have access to the other one for stuff if I go on a trip, or maybe I get some groceries for Kara. But at the same time, I don't care about losing one bag space if that means I'll be able to listen to good audio on my bike. So what I built is this contraption right here. So let me show you exactly what this setup is. So this is the unit that I built. It's built on acrylic glass. So the way it works from the top down, I have a PRV DSP on top here. I can use this as my main volume knob. I can also use all of these buttons down here to select my different speakers as I'm tuning them, or to mute them as I'm trying to tune my system. I have my power and ground, both of which are 14 gauge wire. And I have my remote wire, which is also 14 gauge. So you have your remote going in, and then I have my two remote wires here going to my two separate amplifiers. As the power signal goes into here, it'll actually, you can actually sequence the different amplifiers, and I could even attach a third amplifier there if I wanted to as well. So this is connected by the RCA cables here. For channel groupings, the way I have it set up is that I have my left and right audio signal going in. And I'll show you how that gets into the bag. Channel 1 is marked by a yellow tape. This is going to be my front 6.5 inch speakers. So I have my red for right and black for left. Channel 2, I have my lower, so this is for my rear speakers. So those two right over here. And these are labeled green. So green is for my rear, and then yellow is for my fronts. And then here, those are my two tweeter channels. So right now I only have two sets of tweeters. So I'm only going to use channel number 3. This won't be used yet. Still plugged in, still ready to go for the future. And the way that this is going to work is that I can control my channel groupings through here. So if I want to modify my 6.5s, I select this, I control the adjustment and so on. And then I go into my 8-inch speakers in the back, I press here, and then I can go to my tweeters to press here. And this will make sure that every speaker has the right frequencies going to it. Now, if we look here, what's powering all of this? I have a fuse box right here. So this is it's a fuse block, essentially, where I have power going in, which is these two cables right here. And then I have power going out, which is these 4 cables right here. So the power going in is going through an Anderson connector. I have another video on my channel. I showed how to build that Anderson connector. The nice thing about those fuse boxes, so that you can see based on what you might be able to see right here, is that you have your power and ground. I could actually add another power if I wanted to right here as well. And then it redistributes the signal over to this side. Here I have, so 8 gauge wires going in here. The ground meets in the middle. So if I can find the right angle here. So you can see over here, I have this is an 8 gauge power that's going to the small sound digital here, because it only takes 8 gauge wire. And I actually have power on the other side that's a 4 gauge wire that's powering the 1200 over here. These wires are running through the fuse block. So there are fuses in here. If you can see, inside of this case, there's actually 2 fuses separating to make sure that the amps are protected if wires get crossed. These wires are running all the way into the back here, into the back of the amplifier, and then right back into the amps. So when you look here, this is where you're going to get your ground, your power, and then same thing, you have ground power going right here to the other amplifier. And these are your remote 1 and then remote 2 over here. So for the RCA, I use some Amazon cables. They're actually pretty nice little cables. WJSTN. I like that they fit nice and snug as well. So which is important, because especially with Harleys, things tend to rattle quite a bit. That's it for that. So the RCAs go right up to the DSP over here. And then same thing for the other side. They go back down here and then go into. For the speakers, I wanted to wire things up as tidy as I could. So there's actually a few of them that are not being used right now. So I mentioned I only have 1 set of tweeters. So for the 400.4, this is going to be 1 set of tweeters, and it's not bridged right now. What you can do usually is you can bridge an amp, which means that you're using, you're turning a 4-channel amp into 2, which will add quite a bit more power, but my tweeters don't need that much power. So for now, I just left it. I think it's going to push out about 60 watts or so, RMS, which should be fine to power those tweeters. And when I add 2 more tweeters, I have these 4 channels that I can connect as well. This will be tweeter 1, tweeter 3 left and right, and 10 tweeter 4 left and right over here. So that's why here you see I have 1, 2 tweeters, which is left positive, negative for each speaker. And then on this side, I have my positive, negative for my highs, my 6.5, and then my 8-inch woofers in the back. Well, I shouldn't say woofers, 8-inch mid bass in the back. In order to make it portable and easy to connect, so I have the Anderson connector here for the power. That makes it easier to connect the power. These are fantastic connectors. They are DEUTCH, Deutsch connectors, however you say it. They are great. So what I did is I used the same color coding, so I would know which one goes where. So for the speaker wires, they're just running all the way under the amp here for a nice and tidy setup. What I did for the amplifiers is I added those little twist. So they're M3. You just twist right off by hand. So if I ever need to take the amplifier, there's 4 of them on each amplifier that's holding it in place. So It'd be nice and easy to take off if I need to. This whole rig is held up by these. Those are actually used for computers. You'll see those often in computer builds. And then I added a spacer here that connects on to the bottom, right here. I can run all my cables underneath the amplifiers, and especially for this one, the venting is underneath, right here. So because I wanted to make sure that it vents properly, that's why it's got like a spacing underneath there. For the DSP is I added another one of those Deutsch connectors, and this will connect in the bag. So if I ever want to take this entire rig off, there's 3 plugs. I have my plug here in the back. This is for the power, ground, remote to the DSP. I have my speaker plug right here. So this will connect all of my speakers. This is actually really great when tuning speakers too. So what I do is I'll tap into those plugs here if I want to check the levels, which I can show you. Maybe I'll make another video when I'm tuning the amplifiers and all that. And then this one here for my power and ground to connect all of the amplifiers. So now that I've showed you all of this, how does it mount in the bag? Well, in the back, I have 2 bolts here. Essentially, you have one here, one here. This comes off. I put that inside the bag and then essentially put that back on. I put it through and then that's it. The glass that I have on here, this is actually acrylic. So it's really easy to work with, really easy to cut, and easy to drill in as well. And I don't think you need, from what I've read, it's less, dangerous to work with than fiberglass, let's say. Fiberglass is a lot of little fibers and stuff that can get into your lungs and into the air and on your skin and all that. So this was quite a bit easier to work with. You can actually kind of sand down the edges. So I'll show you in the back here. So this is actually a cut edge. I cut that with a miter saw, believe it or not. I just sanded those down after I cut them. Now they're not sharp at all. They're kind of rounded off a little bit. Because I didn't want to make sure it didn't chafe my wires too, especially the wires that are going right here. So I wanted to make sure that was good. That's why I wrapped it with some Tessa tape too, to protect the wires a little bit more, as the bike will vibrate quite a bit. So I wanted to make sure as the vibrations go through, then everything is still good. What I used to secure it together is this here. So these are actually for shower doors. I bought those on Amazon. They're like, I don't know, 20 bucks for 4 of them or something. But it's great because if I wanted to take the top rack off, I can do that. It's just the screws back here, so you can kind of see underneath right there. So these are the screws that it just screws in top and bottom, and then that's it. You have the same on the other side, top and bottom. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's how the whole unit holds together. And it's very strong glass as well. So, all right, let's put it on the bike.
I want a hug.
You want a hug?
I have a hug. Hi, my name is Jackson. How are you?
You gotta talk into it.
Huh? Huh? Like where? There?
Right there, yeah.
Hi.
Just talk into it.
Hi. Can I have some of that? I want one of those. 1 and 2, 3. Hi. And feel now. Bye, everyone.
Now that you saw the rack mount that I built, I'm going to show you how I put it into the bag. So this is the saddle bag. It's by a company called Bad Dad. They make some really, really great stuff. It's a stretch bag. You'll see some nicks here because of the stretch side cover that I have as well with it. And I put the black hardware. And on top, this is where you'll see my PRV speakers and my DS18 tweeters on the very top. I've actually set up a 2-plug system. So you'll see the 2 holes. First off, the 2 holes right here, and on the other side right here. This is where the amp rack mounts. So remember I showed you the 2 holes earlier, and this is where it's gonna tie into the bag. So I have 2 plugs that go into the bag. One here is my 25 pin and my 25 pin connector. And I have my 2-pin Anderson connector right here. And this will plug right into the bike. So I have 2 wires running under the fender all the way around right up to the battery. And there's another fuse at the battery as well. And I can close this little trap door if I ever wanted to store the bag or something. Okay, so here's the bag. This is the best way that I can show you what's inside of it. I'll start off first with the Anderson connector. So this piece here plugs in all of the speakers. I have the same color coding across all the speakers. Then I have my 4 leads here for RCA. The only reason why those leads are 4 and they convert into 2 over here, as you can see, is because my head unit is actually 4-channel. So it has front, rear, left, and right. But my DSP is only 2. So eventually I might get a 4-channel DSP, so 4 RCA in, but I just left it at that for now. And then finally, I have my Anderson power connector right here. So this is where all the power for the amplifier is coming in. Now I'm going to put it inside the bag. And I'll show you what it looks like once it's in there. Same. There, so those 2 are pretty tight. This is actually, even with the 2 that are holding it, it's like rock solid. So at first I thought I was gonna have to put more support or something, but it's pretty good as is. So I won't have to touch that. There, and that's how you set up a amplifier bag setup. So like I said, you lose the bag, but the nice thing is you only have 2 connectors. Those 2 right here. And that's pretty much it.